Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 322nd ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the MSP studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Cameron. Was that the old intro music I just heard?
We just took a time machine back to a year ago, or whatever that was.
Back by popular demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not too many episodes left.
Got to give the people what they want.
Not too many left.
Exactly. Little throwback. We did that specifically for all the people that like the old intro music, of course, but our good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Aaron Houlihan, a special request from him. So shout out to Aaron. Thanks for your support. And we'll be rocking the old intro music for the rest of the way here.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't know that many people liked it. I didn't know that... I didn't know it was dear to so many hearts.
Yeah, people get used to a certain thing and they don't like you switching it up, but also like what a just chill vibes there.
Yeah.
And it's the tune they grew up with.
Yeah, well, exactly. What I have realized is a lot of people apparently listen to our podcast as they're maybe going to sleep. We're just that boring, I guess.
Yeah.
But it does make sense that song goes with bedtime a little bit better than the other one that we brought in.
Yeah, our soothing voices.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, we needed the energy boost, I feel like, from the other music. That kind of,
got us going.
Livened it up a little bit to start the episode. So, but we can just channel that. It's all good. So enjoy that while it lasts. Kyle, you still nursing that cough?
I think I took a step back somehow.
Regressed.
This is like the third week in a row where I'm thinking like, I don't know how I'm going to do a podcast. But we just do it. Anyway, we get through it.
Here you are.
My wife went to the doctor today. She has bronchitis.
Oh.
I was sick before her, so I probably have it or had it. I'm on my second round of antibiotics. It's been a battle.
You got some throat soothing tea.
I got some tea. I haven't been a tea drinker in my life, but the last couple weeks it's been saving me. I've kind of almost started enjoying the flavor now.
Sure.
So it's just a nice wholesome activity now, drinking tea.
Definitely. You get that sleepy time tea, put you right to bed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, it was a heck of a game, but Missouri lost to South Carolina. What else happened? The basketball team won by about 1,000 points, and we're playing Mississippi State this week. Before we get into all that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and all of that stuff. And Missouri lost to South Carolina 34-30. That was a wild game.
Yeah.
Like, come all the way back, take the lead multiple times.
Yeah. I thought we were dead in the water.
Yes.
At certain points in this game, I was thrilled to see us not quit like we have in other SEC road games that we've gotten behind in.
Yeah.
I was happy with the fight. I was proud to watch Brady Cook fight through his injuries and have the game he did. Obviously things felt a lot more normal with him, back in the saddle and seemingly playing pretty well for the most part, all things considered. We had some really exciting moments, potentially legendary moments that may end up being a little bit forgotten now, but it was a great game though from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah, early on it was boring, and it was like, is this game ever going to get going? It was still 6-7 or 7-6. South Carolina was ahead with 2 minutes left in the first half. Not much had happened, and then they just go and score 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the first half to make it 21-6 at halftime. And that really did feel like, well, geez, obviously, especially on offense, Missouri is a second half team this year. And so it couldn't have been much worse in the second half than how it looked in the first half, only scoring 6 points. But still, just like at halftime, that's felt like an insurmountable lead. Yeah. And we were going to be lucky to get back in this thing.
Yeah.
The biggest thing in that early stretch, was after Norwood gets the interception. That was like a huge momentum play or potential momentum play. And then the offense goes -3 yards in 4 plays.
Yeah.
And Blake Craig misses a 49-yarder.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge missed opportunity. Exactly what you said. It was an opportunity to take advantage of momentum. Missouri hasn't seemed to do that well this season. Brady Cook mentioned this in his post-game interview, that South Carolina is a momentum team.
Yeah.
And this year, they have been really good at just taking advantage of those hype moments. And like when something goes good, they just turn it into something really good. And they did that in this game right before halftime. And Missouri has not done that well.
No.
And it really killed us in this game.
That one offensive possession after the interception had that big sack on 3rd down where Mitchell Walters the guy just ran right past him. And like, it's never good when you can like take a snapshot of the play and the offensive lineman, you just see like 75, just like feels like it's taking up the entire screen, turned around looking at the quarterback about to get sacked. That was no good. But in the second half, South Carolina, it felt like they started trying to kind of like milk some clock and like really dominate the time of possession and try to run the ball. And Missouri was just like, Missouri's defense really stepped up after getting gashed in the passing game in the first half. The run defense stepped up and had those 2 4th down stops. And really, the run defense for Missouri was dominant in this game. South Carolina altogether 36 carries for 109 yards. That's just 3 yards per carry. Rocket Sanders was doing nothing. Even Sellers getting outside the pocket, like he's very fast. That's something that was like I underestimated with him going into this game. I knew he was mobile and like can make plays with his legs, but he was beating angles to the sideline, and Missouri got lucky a couple times that he didn't get the first down, but really they just stuffed the run so well. And obviously South Carolina was trying to dominate the start of the second half with like establishing the run. Missouri's defense said, no, we're not going to let that happen. And that is really what started to turn the momentum in Missouri's favor, getting those 4th down stops. And then finally the offense was able to get some stuff going, get in the end zone a couple times.
Yeah, you mentioned South Carolina going for it on 4th down 2 different times. And I feel like one time in particular, it was like, no way they're hiking this ball, right?
Right.
And they actually did because they were like in their own territory and stuff. But man, it really felt like this game was personal for Shane Beamer especially. Yeah. And obviously he has not performed well against Eli Drinkwitz. And I think that he was probably ready to get that monkey off his back of just like finally getting a win against Eli Drinkwitz. So
this would be the time to do it.
He was, exactly. And he was going for the throat with the 4th down stuff. Like he was trying to put this game away in the 3rd quarter, and it felt like they probably should have, honestly.
Yeah. And what struck me was like such a clear difference in coaching style, because there was multiple situations there that South Carolina was being aggressive, going for it, clearly was acting like it was 4 down territory.
Yeah.
Where we've maybe wanted that from Drinkwitz a few times this season, and it hasn't happened. And there was a couple times where like, well, I know for a fact Eli Drinkwitz is kicking a field goal here. I know for a fact he's punting here.
Yeah.
Maybe one of those times it was like, yeah, pretty much everybody's going to go for it in this spot. But it felt like they were being extra aggressive in those situations, and it really didn't work out for them.
Right. I'm team go for it most of the time, but there was one time in particular was like, he's trying to get us back in this game. Like I don't know about this, and it really almost backfired on them completely.
And Missouri's offense was finally able to sustain some drives and find the end zone. Nate Noel had a really great second half, a great game altogether, 150 yards on 27 carries. He's been banged up, so to see him and Cook perform as well as they did with their injuries this season, and it was a little bit of a flashback to last year where the running game just started dominating in the second half. And, there was probably half a dozen games last year where we would talk afterwards about how Cody Schrader had his longest run of the game, or like he matched his yardage total for the game with one long run in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And Noel was kind of running like that late. And Brady was moving the ball around, finding Theo Weiss on a couple clutch plays. Had that really big play to Marquise Johnson to get it down by the goal line.
Yeah, good to see Marquise Johnson get back in there a little bit.
And so then that drive ended with the fourth quarter ended with a Noel touchdown. That brought Missouri all the way back to take the lead 22-21 in the fourth quarter. And I let myself in that moment feel like, okay, like Missouri's a better team. The environment was tough, but Missouri hadn't been penalized too much. It felt like we were figuring it out in the second half, the way the defense was holding them. But then South Carolina, when they didn't have the lead and weren't trying to milk the clock and run the ball, they were like, oh, well, why don't we just go back to throwing the ball like we did in the first half and just dice you up again? And Lenore Sellers looked really good. He had that magical play where he evaded
Johnny Walker
Jr. on 3rd and 10, was about to be sacked at his own 20-yard line, and it turns into a first down.
Yeah, absolutely brutal moment. I think there was about 7 minutes left in the game, so it's not like it was going to just be over if they got him down there. But man, they were pretty deep in South Carolina territory. It was going to be probably 4th and 20 from South Carolina's 30-yard line or something like that, with Missouri getting the ball. And then I'm pretty sure South Carolina scored on maybe the next play after that, or maybe 2 plays after that. They got 2 or 3 big plays right after that happened. Yeah. It felt like Missouri's defense was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, they were reeling a little bit after not getting them stopped there.
And I just knew that was going to happen too. Yeah. That was almost the worst part of that was just well, I don't think we're just going to just be like, no problem. So I think they were at their wits' end a little bit after that play, and that really felt like the momentum was shifting massively.
Yes. And it would have been one thing if he just was able to avoid the sack and throw the ball away. Right. Would have saved him some yardage there. Yeah. But no, of course, he has to go get the first down.
Straight up go extend the drive, yeah.
Yeah. And producer Cameron and I were talking about this before you got here, Kyle, but I feel like college football fans, I feel like underestimate or start to think that their team is really bad at tackling, which is true, but pretty much all college football teams are really bad at tackling. That's actually, for me personally, that's a little bit of the charm of college football, is you're going to have blown coverages and just terrible tackling from time to time. Yeah. Obviously, nobody likes to see their team do it.
Yeah, in key moments.
Yeah, but
it does happen.
Yeah, and that was a trend in this game. I mean, South Carolina Sellers was finding his receivers in space. They were separating easily, and then were not getting tackled easily once they had the ball over and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, the cornerbacks were struggling big time, especially man coverage. Yeah. And man, it was ugly.
The broadcast crew, helping out the audience at home, pointing out on replays, another Marvin Burks, taking 3 steps towards the line of scrimmage while his guy is running right past him. Yeah. And I think it was Dalen Carnell who was lined up press coverage against a receiver, and he just gets off the line and runs right past him. Didn't outrun him. He just had a step on him the entire time, and it just wasn't really that close. And Sellers was just able to drop it in the bucket there.
Yeah. I was really impressed with Lenora Sellers, honestly. And I guess we saw him in his greatest game he's ever played. Yeah. So, yeah, of course, we were impressed with him. But, I mean, man, he played a heck of a game.
Literally a career game for him. He had never had 3 touchdown passes in a game. He had 5 against Missouri. He had never passed for 300 yards in a game. He had 353. So, yeah, literally a career game for Sellers. And they bottled him up in the running game a little bit.
Yeah. It's what's interesting is Missouri's played against several quarterbacks like that now, where it's they're kind of the dual threat, and for the most part, Missouri's played those quarterbacks pretty well. Even in the first half of the Alabama game, like the defense played fairly well. But when they have to play against a quarterback that can throw, it's like has not gone well at all.
Yeah, and
if you recall, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Or when Sellers decided he wanted to throw the ball down the field, it was Swiss cheese.
Yeah. And I don't know. I was trying to think like what I would rather be the case, but like if you're game planning to stop the run, to sell out to stop the run and do it really effectively, like that's a win for the defense. But it wasn't that they sort of neglected the pass. That wasn't all. South Carolina's success passing the ball wasn't just because of the scheme. It was also just a couple blown plays and just a guy running right past you. And that's not, you don't really plan for that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's, we just can't ever, I don't know. This was such an opportunity. I'm not even like, I couldn't even be mad. We're not even to the end of this breakdown, but it felt like this was a sad game. This was not an angry game because it was like we came all the way back and took the lead late and then just so disappointing and sad.
Yeah, I agree actually. I was sad for sure.
Yeah. The Texas A&M game was more of like a like a pissed off afterwards. Like this is infuriating.
Exactly.
How could this happen?
Right.
Let me jump back into the very end here. So fast forward a little bit. Missouri has the ball back. It's late in the fourth quarter. We're driving. Nate Noel getting 6 yards, 7 yards. But then that part of the field where Missouri's offense always falters a little bit, we get to 4th down and 5 with about a minute left, and they do it. They make the play. Brady Cook drops back. Luther Burden has half a step on his guy. They're doing this thing that I hate in college football right now where the wide receiver just like has a hand on the defensive back behind him a little bit. And I feel like the refs don't know what to do with that. Is he getting held? Is he pushing off? He's just like feeling for him. But he does it. He lets it drop down, makes the one-handed catch, scampers on in for the touchdown. That was probably the play you were referring to earlier that was like had potential for legendary status.
100%.
But and it was an incredible play, incredible throw, great catch.
I don't know why I had this like visceral of a reaction because like I'm like a fairly like stoic sports watcher, but I mean if I'm at home by myself I'm a little bit more emotional. But I was full on sprinting around the living room like in my house. I mean that's the most I've ran in years.
You were making laps.
Exactly. My wife was like, "Baby's sleeping." I was stomping around.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I were going crazy.
Yeah,
like I was just.
I think I just didn't expect it to happen. No. I don't know. It was like 4th and long. It was a big moment. I just did not expect to see what I saw.
Yeah. How quickly after they're celebrating in the end zone, you know, it says touchdown across the bottom of the screen. How quickly were you realizing South Carolina's got a minute and 3 timeouts here? Yeah. And Missouri did get that 2-point conversion
as well, yeah.
So they made it a 3-point game.
Yeah, I think all of that was hitting me then was like, oh, we still have to get a 2-point conversion here to get up by 3. But once we got up by 3, I was like, I feel okay. Like they'll probably get in field goal range and probably take us to overtime.
Yeah.
But
to be completely honest, I was not feeling great. Just because when they have needed, I thought it was going to take an interception. We were going to have to stop them definitively with a takeaway. Because when they've decided to throw the ball around, they just have done whatever they wanted. And they had a minute and 3 timeouts. They scored in 45 seconds, scored a touchdown in 45 seconds, only used 1 timeout.
I feel like those types of situations, it's like pretty rare to see the team just like flat out take the lead with a touchdown. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's normally like just do what you can to get in field goal range, and that's kind of I guess that's where my mind ignorantly went was like just I don't know. Let's take this thing to overtime. That's what they've got enough time to get in field goal range. I was not really thinking about them taking the lead with a touchdown, and I am an idiot for for thinking that Missouri could stop them the way that South Carolina had been throwing the ball around.
Yeah. It was like probably during the 2-point conversion where I was like, well, that's good, but
Got a long way to go here.
oh man, I think I said like this is going to be a long minute. I think I said that out loud. This is going to be a long last minute,
Sounds like something you would say out loud.
and it wasn't even that long.
It was 45 seconds.
South Carolina shortened it. Oh man.
Yeah, it sucks because like I said, there was some moments that would have been really special, and I think it would have been great to see Brady win that game and prolong the trash talking of Shane Beamer yet another year. All of those things keep Missouri's really special season potentially intact.
Yeah.
I still don't think that we were probably making the playoff even with 10 wins, but you're at least putting yourselves in the conversation.
Yeah. Confirmed eliminated.
Confirmed eliminated.
I'm willing to say that at this point.
I think you're right. So yeah, there was definitely some disappointment with all of those things, and but yeah, like you said, it's like I couldn't be mad. South Carolina played a great game.
Yeah.
And I think Missouri's secondary has got a lot of issues they got to work out. If I'm mad about anything, it's probably that.
Right. Coach Drinkwitz after the game said some similar stuff. It's always interesting. I don't like seeing Coach Drinkwitz after a loss, but it's interesting. I think he handles himself well in those situations, and obviously he just kind of laid it out there like, yeah, this is disappointing, but we did what we had to do to win this game. But there was we did 99% of what we had to do to win this game. And there was, 3 plays that turned it. And I don't know. You think about giving up that sack to push the field goal back a little bit that Blake Craig missed in the first half. Any of those field goal attempts not being touchdowns. Well, first of all, we're used to that. That's not something that you can like change after the fact, I think, to like change the narrative a little bit. That's who this team is. We kick way too many field goals.
Correct.
But getting sacked to push that one back hurts so bad. Any one of those blown coverages that makes a 10-yard reception into a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then obviously that had him in your hands.
Like
Sack opportunity in the fourth
literally
quarter.
Wrapped him up basically, and just somehow
Just shrugged him off.
didn't bring him down. Yeah. I'm not gonna blame the refs whatsoever for this game, but it's a little bit
Sounds like you're
weird
about to.
timing that I'm about to talk about the refs.
Yeah.
But like, there was some weird stuff going on
Yes.
in this game. Like
They were struggling.
Am I wrong? Yeah.
They were struggling.
Yeah.
I can't even remember them all. That was like
I
one of
know.
those fourth down
There-
situations.
They gave South Carolina like 2 chances at a fourth down. One, I don't even really know what happened. They like Nate Noel had a play where he basically scored a touchdown and they called it back. And I actually was out of the room
because they had to reset the clock or something.
Yes.
Should have never got to that point. Yeah, they were like not exactly making bad calls, but it was like amateur hour where everything was in question.
Yes.
And which is like the worst thing because then every big play, you're like questioning
Yeah.
if everything went right.
Yeah. There was one point where like this ball, like South Carolina was going for it on, I don't know if it was 3rd or 4th down, but it was a short down in distance, and it was like clearly short.
Yeah.
And the ref, like one ref was saying he was short, one ref came over and said first down. I was like, what's going on here?
And then they ended up measuring it, and I feel like it was still a generous spot for South Carolina.
Yeah.
But the measurement was short.
Yeah. There's some, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some strange things
The
going
crowd
on.
was into it. Also, speaking of the crowd, South Carolina did this thing where they just like smoked the field real quick while Missouri was like in the red zone driving. I don't know. They did like pyrotechnics, and there's just a bunch of fog left over on the field. Missouri's trying to score a touchdown. I don't know. That annoyed me. Should be penalized for that or something.
I guess I didn't really notice that.
Should have been delay a game or something on South
agree.
Carolina. But
Remember that game earlier this year when Tennessee? Did you see the thing where Tennessee fans threw a bunch of like trash on the field when they didn't have a call? It was like a bad call,
I saw
and
something
the
like
refs
that.
like actually changed their mind. Like
Was
they
it-
changed the play. call.
Was it maybe Texas?
I think so.
Okay.
It was a bad call.
Yeah.
The fans had a right to be mad. But
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know
a
why-
weird
I don't know why I just
situation.
thought of that. It was like external environmental
Yeah.
things going on that made me think of that. But
Throwing stuff on the field.
it feels like that's a weird standard to set where like they
Oh,
legit changed their call after that
Yeah.
happened.
Very
Anyways,
bizarre.
Okay, that's incredibly random.
Don't throw stuff on the field.
Don't do that. Don't make the field smoky when Mizzou has the ball.
No. Don't do any of that. That's interference. Yeah, so Missouri's now 7-3 and 3-3 in SEC play. Still ranked 23rd in the college football playoff rankings. There was some teams in the late teens that lost. Kansas State lost. A couple other teams lost. Yeah, so South Carolina, I mean, I feel like they're in good hands with Sellers. I mean, he's just a redshirt freshman. Hopefully he's peaking right now and doesn't get much better than this because he looked really good.
Shane Beamer had a big old smile on his face after this game when he was talking to somebody.
Happiest he's been in a while.
Man, I hated watching that.
Yes.
I was just turning off my TV, honestly.
I foolishly had started feeling bad for the guy between the South Carolina game last year and a week ago.
Thought he was on his way out.
I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, they're having a little season here.
He's kind of a goofy guy.
Yeah. I was kind of like, okay, maybe I can start to like him a little bit since he's the underdog. But no, that all changed on Saturday. We're back to.
I mean, this is not what I saw coming this season at all.
No.
That South Carolina would have this kind of bounce back. And I don't think they're going to make the playoff or anything, but they're legitimately in the conversation.
Yeah, they have an opportunity to beat. They play Clemson last game of the year.
Yeah.
And
They could go 10-2.
yeah, they could. This is what we want. I mean, they're set themselves up for what Missouri could have done. Go 10-2, and then maybe some chaos happens, and you never know.
Yeah.
But still probably on the outside looking in, but you're at least putting, if you win 10 games every year, you're going to go to the playoffs some of those years.
Yeah. And they were 2 points away from beating Alabama, which they definitely would have been in the playoff at that point.
Right. So moving on to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is 2-8, 0-6 in SEC play. First year coach, I believe, Jeff Lebby, former offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. They're missing him over there.
Yeah.
Their only wins this season are against Eastern Kentucky and our friends, the UMass Minutemen.
It's been a rough one.
For UMass?
Probably. I was talking about Mississippi State, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Both.
Yeah.
Been a rough season for Mississippi State. They haven't been able to do anything in conference play. I was looking, their closest conference loss was by 10 at home to Texas A&M a month ago. They lost 34-24 to Texas A&M at home. They also lost at Arizona State. They lost at home to Toledo earlier this year. So, yeah, they've been in rough shape. They have a little bit better offense than they do defense, but that's not saying much because their defense is awful.
Yeah, their starting quarterback, Blake Shapen, is out for the year as well with a shoulder injury. So they got Michael Van Buren in there.
Yeah,
doing his best.
True freshman quarterback Michael Van Buren was a 3-star recruit out of high school. He's got 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions on the season. They didn't plan on him being the starter much of this year.
Yeah.
Shapen was a senior and he went down. So, yeah, they got the freshman quarterback. They've got 2 serviceable running backs, Devon Booth and Johnny Daniels. They've combined for over 1,000 yards this season. They definitely want to try to lean on the running game. And at wide receiver, they've got a familiar name, Kevin Coleman Jr., former, or it was a St. Louis native.
Yep.
And we were talking about him years ago.
Same class as Burden.
Same class as Luther Burden. I want to say Coleman, I should have looked this up, but I want to say he committed to like Florida State or something out of high school.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. He, I believe he committed to Florida State, ended up at Jackson State, like FCS Jackson State to play with Deion Sanders.
Right. But when he decommitted from Florida State like maybe around the same time that Burden decommitted from Oklahoma. So it was like, maybe we're going to get both of these guys.
There was a time where I think Mizzou fans thought that was a possibility.
And then it came out that they didn't like each other or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. So like, okay, we'll take Burden.
They can't take them both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes to Jackson State. Then when Deion Sanders goes to Colorado, Kevin Coleman goes to Louisville. Mm-hmm. That was last season. And then now he's at Mississippi State. He still has another year, I believe.
Okay.
He still has another year of eligibility.
Maybe he wants to come home next year.
Well, Luther Burden's is probably not going to be Mizzou next year. So.
Yeah, we're not going to have that issue. He's had a really good season, though. 62 catches, 756 yards, 5 touchdowns. Those receptions and yardage would be at the top of the list for the Missouri Tigers this year.
Yeah. I think he might be their punt returner as well. Just an all-around playmaker.
Yeah, so they're going to be trying to feed him the ball. And honestly, like they don't have the offensive line to do what they want to do. But Jeff Levy is a really good offensive coach, I think.
Would you say he's an offensive mastermind?
I would say yes. I'm gonna call him that. He's an offensive mastermind, and Oklahoma just really missing him.
Yeah,
big time.
He's too good for that place.
Absolutely. So who knows what's going to happen with Mississippi State? They got to do a little bit better on the recruiting trail. Speaking of recruiting, bringing up Oklahoma, there was a YouTube commenter on the last episode that was saying something like they just need to get a couple recruiting classes under their belt and get a new offensive coordinator.
Okay.
And then they're going to be cooking. And I was like, yeah, man, you're right. Just new coaches and new players, and you guys will be right there.
Get all new everything, and you'll be back to where you want to be.
Yeah, that cracked me up. You set me up for that one. But Mississippi State's offense, like, I feel like they are going to be better than they are this year, especially with the freshman quarterback. And I feel like they'll attract talent because you'll be able to recruit that you're playing in the SEC, and players are going to like their scheme and everything. But they don't have the offensive line to make it all happen this year, and having to rely on the freshman quarterback. So I'm not too worried about this game. I mean, it shouldn't be. They're 0-6, but it is a road game in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Feels like Missouri has not played Mississippi State well.
No.
Like in our SEC history, we lost there in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I know they came to Mizzou in 2015 and beat us pretty handily back in the Dak Prescott days.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if we've played, honestly, more than those two times like in the last 5 to 10 years, but not much to go off of, but we have not played them well when we've had the opportunity.
As I alluded to earlier, their defense is worse than their offense, so we have that to look forward to. Mississippi State's defense is dead last in the SEC in yards per game allowed at 460 yards.
Wow.
Second to last in the SEC is Florida. They allow 400 yards per game. So Mississippi State 60 yards worse than the next best defense.
Incredible.
They're 15th in passing yards per game allowed. So most of that yardage is coming through the air.
15th in the SEC.
In the SEC, yeah. Usually when you see that, I mean, 460 is a lot.
Yeah.
So, but usually if it's a team like that, they're just getting the ball run down their throat all game. And sort of the game script when you're a bad defense means you're going to give up a lot of rushing yards.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different for Mississippi State. They're getting torched through the air week in, week out in the SEC. Terrible, terrible schedule, though. So
yeah, they've had a brutal schedule. A few other stats about Mississippi State that contribute to the argument that they're not very good. They rank 120th in all college football teams in third down defense. So they surrender a first down on third down 46% of the time.
Can't get off the field.
Cannot get off the field. They're 101st in the country in penalties. So they commit quite a bit of penalties.
Shooting themselves in the foot. Can't get off the field.
They're 128th in time of possession.
Wow.
So almost dead last in time of possession.
Wow.
They're 122nd in sacks allowed. So they give up over 3 sacks a game.
Sheesh.
So like you mentioned, offensive line just isn't cutting it.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have, they are 132nd in the country in team sacks. So just times they're sacking the other team's quarterback.
That's last?
Second to last.
Second to last.
Yes. So they are only getting 0.7 sacks per game. There are only 3 teams in FBS that are averaging less than 1 sack per game, and they're one of them.
Wow.
So they're not very good in the trenches.
No.
Offense and defense.
That's a recipe for losing a lot of SEC games.
Yeah.
And
especially when you play all the good ones.
yeah, exactly. And I think Missouri's offensive line has its doubters and now dealing with injuries. Although I think Heismeyer did fine against South Carolina. No penalties, I don't think. No bad snaps.
No, I'd say he's playing well.
Yeah. So the trenches are a strength for Missouri. I mean, the defensive line, absolutely a strength for Missouri. So I really feel like it's going to be tough to go on the road and pull out a win.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of bad matchups this year on paper. And I don't think there's probably any teams that Mississippi State matches up with well on paper, but we finally have a nice matchup, maybe even 2 in a row here to end the season, where we have some things working in our favor on paper. We'll have to see next week, but I like Missouri to win this game, hopefully put it away early in the second half, and Brady Cook to look pretty good. I think Missouri wins this game 31-16.
That's pretty darn close to what I was going to say.
Ooh.
I was going to say 35-17. Is Missouri going to score on a touchdown on their first drive? They don't do that.
No, probably not.
I don't know why they're so much better in the second half than the first, but a reporter actually asked Drink that.
I was going to bring that up.
And
he doesn't know either.
He doesn't know. He didn't have an answer, and if he does know, he didn't want to say it out loud in front of the public. He basically long paused, kind of fumbled around for a minute and said, I don't really have a good answer for you. We've been looking at that.
And he said they're a lot, something like, thank goodness they're performing well in the second half. Yeah. Something like that. It was more positive than I just said it, but like.
I mean, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's something to pay attention to. Can Missouri score some touchdowns in the first half?
A touchdown in the first half would be huge. They got to be able to do that against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Missouri's going to win.
Comfortably, I hope.
Yeah. I think, by this time, this late in the season, like, I don't think anybody should be getting their hopes up for an absolute breakout game from the offense. The defense is going to look good. The offense is going to look good enough. Hopefully some big plays to make everybody happy.
Please hit some downfield throws.
Yeah.
Just for something.
And I would love for this one not to be in doubt towards the end.
Yeah.
That would make me feel good.
That'd be nice.
We can do that against Arkansas if we have to. So we're predicting wins. Let us know what you think in the comments about that South Carolina game. Give us your score predictions if you want. And I think we're ready to pick the rest of the SEC slate.
Oh yeah.
Y'all did fine last week. Status quo was maintained. but
That's how we like it.
I just couldn't help myself. I needed to drop back 1 point. So everybody else improved together and separated by 1 point away from me. I just couldn't keep up.
3 points for Cam last week, 4 for the rest of us. Season total is Cam has 65, I have 73, Kyle and the guest pickers have 77.
I can really see now how, the people in society at the top really want to just keep things status quo.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now. I'm just trying to, don't want to rock the boat. Just want to keep things exactly how they are.
Yeah. It makes me down here at the bottom get desperate.
Right off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Our guest picker this week is Matthew.
Welcome in.
Welcome in.
Game number 1.
Still got SEC teams playing FCS teams.
We
and
still
stuff.
doing that?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Number 9, Ole Miss at Florida. Ole Miss is a 10-point favorite.
Florida's been playing well.
Yeah. They beat LSU.
Yeah. I'm not going to pick them, but I respect what they've done. That they've made a nice. They've kind of done what South Carolina did. I thought both of those teams dead in the water. I thought both of those coaches were gone.
Well, that vote of confidence from the administration was all Billy needed.
I guess so.
I'll take Florida.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss.
I guess I'll take Florida.
Oh, bad decision.
I got to make some ground up somehow. So
Good luck to you. We're in this together.
thanks, man. Next up is
Did the guest pickers take Ole Miss?
yes.
You might have already
Guest
said that.
pickers take Ole Miss. I don't think I did.
That's
Next.
what I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
They're keeping it safe. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Kentucky at number 3, Texas. Texas is a 20.5-point favorite.
Is it just me, or is Texas getting the easiest schedule ever in the SEC? Like every week,
Is that your take now?
they're like, I guess it has to be. It's like, honestly don't think, I think they're a little bit overrated, but they just play the easiest schedule in the world for SEC standards.
Okay. I'm going to have to pull up their schedule.
Check me on that.
We're going to live fact check
It's like, yeah, okay. go
on this
ahead.
program. Yeah. Michigan was fraudulent.
Fraudulent.
Oklahoma was fraudulent.
Frauds.
They lost to Georgia
Only good team they played.
by 15
And even Georgia's
at home.
Even Georgia's kind of fraudulent for their standards.
Yeah. And their best win on the season is at Vanderbilt. They won by 3. Wow.
I feel like I never really got the opportunity to
No.
pick against them. It's like, what am I going to do? Pick
Yeah.
Ole Miss? Not Ole Miss. That's a bad example. What am I going to do? Pick Mississippi State
Right.
or somebody?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
They beat
maybe
Florida big.
maybe they'll get exposed in the playoff.
Yeah, but this game being at home, they're going to destroy Kentucky.
I'm afraid you're correct.
I'll take Texas.
Texas all around.
Man, Arkansas had a chance to keep it close.
Yeah,
I mean,
they did.
10-point game last week. I picked Arkansas.
You were about to say you were rooting for him.
I was. I'll say it.
That's okay. That's fine. You can do that.
Next up, we have Louisiana Tech at Arkansas. Arkansas is a 21.5-point favorite. Didn't Louisiana Tech play somebody last week?
Probably.
Or the
I'm
week
sure they
before?
played somebody.
Oh, Louisiana Monroe was last week.
That's
It's
right.
Yeah,
Louisiana
they didn't.
Tech.
They didn't cover the spread, and I said they would. Absolutely, do not take betting advice from anyone on this podcast. If we have never said that, we should be saying that. Just get that out of the way. I'll take Arkansas.
Yeah, I'll take Arkansas.
Arkansas all around. Next up is number 7, Alabama at Oklahoma. Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite.
Sounds like a game Alabama's going to win.
Oh,
it
yeah.
sure does. I'll take Oklahoma.
Welcome in. I'll take Alabama.
So you're feeling better about?
Florida over Ole Miss and Oklahoma over Alabama.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with him.
Okay. Yeah. When you say it like that.
When you say the games as they're being played,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Say it like it is.
Guest pickers also on Alabama.
Mm.
Maybe the game of the week, at least as far as pick'em goes. Vanderbilt at LSU. LSU is a 7.5 point favorite.
Ooh. It's at LSU, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night game.
Oh, goodness. No way Vanderbilt can beat Alabama and LSU in the same season, right?
What? And probably not. And what were you saying about Pavia? He's like doesn't have his head in the game.
That's what I was-
What did Vanderbilt do last week? Can anyone tell me?
I'll tell you.
Bye week.
They didn't even play.
No.
He-
That
Their
doesn't
their last game they lost to South Carolina 28-7.
Yeah. He either spent the whole Pavia either spent the whole week like wheeling and dealing NIL deals, or he locked back in and had a really good week of practice.
I'm afraid the magic's gone.
Ugh.
I think the Linsanity's run out.
I'll take Vanderbilt.
I'll take LSU.
Really wish I knew who Matthew picked.
I'll tell you.
That's fine. I'm going to make my decision without knowing.
I kind of want you to know.
Okay, I'd like to know.
He picked Vanderbilt.
I'll take LSU.
Wow, easy pick. Come on, Vanderbilt. You're on an island with LSU. You pick LSU?
Well, now I'm not so sure if I want to do that or not.
I think
All right, I'll take Vanderbilt.
Let's go.
Brian Kelly sucks, first of all.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind seeing him just get fired or something.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let him know.
Just if anyone knows him,
Just put that out there.
or just go ahead and tell him what I think about him.
We're wishing ill upon him.
And not this week though. I'd like them to win.
Okay.
For picking.
That's having your cake and eating it too, I think.
All right, last and certainly least, Wisconsin at Nebraska. Nebraska is a 2.5 point favorite.
Oh, give me Wisconsin. Auto pick.
Yeah. Auto pick Wisconsin.
Yeah.
All right, Wisconsin for me. Nebraska
Let's go.
for Matthew.
Tilly picks Nebraska.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well,
What a
I'm
sucker.
going to be a nervous wreck watching these games now. Got to pick 'em championship on the line here.
Yeah. There's still time.
It's time
Not for me, but
Man.
for everybody
for
else.
some of us.
Yeah. What?
No, nothing.
What's going on over there?
No, I'm just looking. I need a miracle.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
We were talking about also the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I want to put some stuff
That's
out
gonna
there.
get wild.
Some stuff that we want to manifest, I think.
Chaos.
If we want chaos, Notre Dame plays Army this week. Army is 9-0,
Oh.
and they're 19th in the college football playoff.
Oh, wow.
Notre Dame's 6th right now. So, go
Notre
Army.
Dame lost to Northern Illinois
Yeah.
earlier this season.
Yeah.
And they're still ranked 6th
Yeah.
because who else? Who else is going to be ranked 6th?
No.
Everybody stinks.
Missouri plays at Northern Illinois in like 2028 or something. So we're Army over Notre Dame.
Yeah, we'll be rooting for that for sure.
Then BYU lost to Kansas.
Yep.
So they dropped all the way down to 14th. Now, I think the way this works, if Army goes undefeated, basically we want to root for, at least me, BYU and Colorado to each lose one more game. And then it's possible the Big 12's shut out of the 12-team playoff.
Oh, we want that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
We want it.
there would be 5 conference champions ranked higher than the highest ranked Big 12 team.
It's completely shut out of the 12-team playoff.
Yes.
Potential-
Altogether.
Yes, potentially.
No
There's potential
way.
for that. Because Boise State's already ahead of them. And if Army wins out, and they'd have to beat Notre Dame, they could jump BYU and Colorado, especially if those teams lose again. And then there would be 5 conference champions ranked higher than any Big 12 team. And then the Big 12 is not getting a at-large spot over, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee,
Wow.
Penn State, Indiana.
That would be incredible.
Yeah. And I may have that. I may not be understanding something there, and it's maybe way harder to keep them out than I think. But
I feel like it's going to be impossible to leave out a power conference like that. But I would love to see
Power
them
conference.
be on the fence.
yeah,
Yeah, in quotes.
yeah. So yeah, just a little bit of a little bit of college football
Just a little
landscape
metagame.
Update for you. Are we done here with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, then special thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. Britt Trees, Ryan Demore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Tim Keens, Tyler Arso, Brandon Groffalo, Brandon Hanks, Matthew Tilly, Lewis Hernandez, Joshua Jacobson, Devontae, and Aaron Houlihan. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen. We love you. And you can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you next week. After win.